Welcome back. We're still in Barcelona and we have a surprise guest. When we planned all our filming here and our meetings, we found out that Stewart Caddick from RCD Dubai is also here in town. Quite surprising, we didn't expect you to be here, but these are very special times. And so what is the reason why you're here and how did you come over here? I mean, flying is a very strange
Unexpected
experience.
pleasure to be here in Barcelona. It's my first time over here, doing a little bit of business. And it's good to be traveling again. It's been some time. I traveled to the UK 4 weeks ago, so I did my quarantine there, which enabled me to come over here. And all going well, on Friday I'll be able to go back to the UK without suffering quarantine.
Fantastic. So the next phase starts in the UK. Good to hear. Stewart, you're very active in the travel retail business, in airports, Dubai duty free. Many people know that. Must have been very, very difficult times for your clients. Can you elaborate a little bit? How is travel retail currently doing, and what are the biggest challenges?
Well, without talking about any specifics, I don't think it's any secret that every airport shop has basically been closed for at least the last 3 months. So it doesn't take a genius to work out that the revenue has simply evaporated, and Dubai is no exception. They have had some business, but it has decreased enormously to the magnitude probably of beyond the 97% that we often talk about in terms of collapses. So it's been unavoidable. There has been no travel. Lockdown has necessitated this dramatic, draconian measure, unprecedented, there's that word again, but it's really a case now of dealing with the realities of today. I would say that our clients, and I think from what I hear, airports and retailers generally are still pretty much in that mode of dealing with the current crisis, right-sizing, taking the necessary actions. Of course, we have been very busy getting ready for the reopening, which actually happened at the end of May. So they have been trading for well over a month now. And we put in place a whole series of measures to make it COVID-friendly. Well, I won't call it COVID-friendly, but user-friendly from a COVID point of view. And that involved a combination of architectural measures, because our business combines architecture with technology. Predominantly simple things like floor stickers, signs, rearranging fixturing, access control, cutting off entrances, making it a more one-way system, similar to an IKEA, but in an environment that already exists, which isn't that easy. And using a little bit of technology where we can. So using the existing screens, repurposing them so that they would be effectively counting people in, counting people out. We use a one trolley, one shopper system as well. We've split up the floor into squares, one trolley per square, to try and give people a sort of intuitive method of navigating the store. And that's really the first stage of dealing with the current crisis from a retail point of view and getting back into action, which was the number one priority, as it is for any retailer. Complying with the laws, complying with the measures that are necessary to make shopping feel safer.
Do people follow their stickers on the floor and all the measurements, or because being here in Barcelona or in Munich or whatever, it's difficult from time to time, really depending on the target group. It is difficult.
Look, the difficulty with airport retail anyway is that you have generally a short dwell time. Yeah. People only have 15-20 minutes to do their shopping. So naturally, to be told you have to take a trolley and stay in a 2-meter square whilst you're doing your shopping trip is difficult. And coupled with issues of language and universal understanding of graphics, etc., it's not easy. Yeah. However, we believe that anything from 60% up in terms of compliance would be a victory, would be worthwhile, because what's really important in all of these situations, as we're finding in domestic retail as well as airports, is making sure that you are doing everything you possibly can to make your customer or traveler feel safe, because at the moment that's the key priority.
Yeah, I mean that's also when you really go downtown, wherever city you go in Europe, and luckily enough we're allowed to travel again a little bit at least. You really see that people are afraid of touching merchandise, of visual merchandise, of touching products, or even entering a store.
Yeah.
So what are the main implications? What will need to change in travel retail/retail in the future?
Well, I guess there's two stages, and I think the narrative is now starting to shift away from what do we have to do to deal with the current crisis to more of a situation of where are we going to be at in 12 to 18 months and what are we going to be doing and what do we need to do to get there. At the moment, whilst the current measures exist, and we have no idea, of course, how long that will be, it's doubtful that they will have been lifted by the time this is aired, but one always hopes. In the meantime, therefore, it is more about thinking of, rather than long dwell times for passengers, it's about how can we get short delivery. So we have to shift the mindset from the experience, even though it will still be an experience of sorts, but not the experience we always wanted to work with, to more efficiency. How do we deliver?
But experience is still top priority for passengers. I mean, we saw some market research from travel retail industry, and they said that the majority of people still expect experiences in the store. They do,
and I think that will come back. That will come back quite quickly, I'm sure. But at the moment, and this is probably just short term. It is going to be about if you're limited with the number of people that you can put through a shop, then naturally you want them to be buyers, rather than just inviting in a family to do a little bit of browsing and walk out with an empty basket.
Well, to be honest, there's not much browsing at airports currently. You start this morning in Heathrow, we start in Munich, and there's one shop open, and
to browse.
It's so depressing.
Absolutely.
Not much option there is.
But I'm sure we'll move on from that hopefully quite soon.
And second phase, what do you think will change there? I mean, first implication you said, are really, getting, the experience out and what,
well,
so
it's an interesting point, and it's, in not just travel retail, but in retail generally, to address the whole scenario, and to steal a quote from Warren Buffett. Now that the tide is going out, we start to see who's swimming naked. So it's going to be an interesting 6 months, I think, from here to the end of the year, as to who survives and in what form. That's first. It is a battle for survival for many retailers at the moment. There's no doubt about that. All sectors are being hard hit, and therefore I think there will still be people who have to focus on the negatives. The positives and what we can look for to see how we change things, and I think this is analogous to what they're talking about in the workplace, where they're saying that in the last 3-4 months, we've probably accelerated the adoption of technology for what was going to happen over the next 5 years. It's happened in these last 3 months. And it could well be that many people don't go back to the old habits in exactly the way that they were.
You're Dubai based, and Dubai was always about wow. And it always looked so digital and so experiential, but behind the scene, there wasn't much of that. Do you think now they also did this, 3 to 5 year stretch, and now they have a better understanding that digital is just more than a digital coating? It needs to be, fully digital and breaking out of the silo?
I think circumstances will necessitate a reappraisal of investment, generally. And of course, the Middle East, which is where we're based, where we operate from, has had a bit of a double whammy with the oil price as well, and what's happened there. It wasn't going to be a great year in the first place. This has turned it into an even potentially worse one, and we won't know until next year, of course. But yes, I think the vanity projects have probably gone, which may not be a bad thing, of course, or well, it may be for those of us who were supplying them. But it's a good thing from the point of view that I think investment now will necessitate a return, a tangible return. So in retail terms, they're going to have to look at reducing costs. And of course, technology is one of those things that can facilitate that in some shape or form. And they're going to have to look at how we manage the experience and improve the experience. Because we have probably lost a lot of passengers and shoppers to online. People who weren't necessarily doing it online have tried it. It's been successful to some degree. And I'm not saying they won't go back to shopping how they did, but it will now be a blend of the two going forward. And we're probably looking at what would have happened by 2025. It's happened now.
Well, thank you, Stewart. Fantastic insights, and that's what's so great about our industry. It's really about how retail technology and digital signage really work together, and it's fascinating to see how retail is changing and the role of digital signage, the role of retail technology, of IoT, and we will discuss more of that here at DSS, the show this summer, and also we plan some really fascinating panel discussions coming up in February at DSS at ISE. So hope you join us there.